Beaumont and welcome to Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help authors and aspiring authors to write, publish and market their own best-selling book. Now, in today's episode, we are going to look at, the title is, Why Sell Your Books in Bookstores? Now, some of you may be saying, what do you mean? Are you crazy? Are you insane? Or, isn't that the only place to sell your book, in bookstores? Well, the answer is actually no. That bookstores are just one distribution channel of many different places that you can actually sell your books. And in future episodes, we're actually going to talk about all the different places in which you can sell your books and understand that bookshops is just one place. Now, the reason why I want to do this video is that I've had people actually say to me, and other people actually say publicly or out there on blogs or websites, don't sell your books in bookshops. It's a bad place to sell books and you don't make a lot of money. So what I wanted to do is to kind of, clear up some confusion out there, because there are some people that say, yes, sell your book in bookstores, and other people say, no, do not sell your book in bookstores. I kind of have an opinion on the subject, and what I'm going to do is share it with you a little bit later. But first, I want to look at the pros and cons of each. Why should you sell your book in bookstores? And that's the purpose of this video. And then in the next video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why you should not sell your book in bookstores, and then we're going to weigh them up, and then you'll be able to make a decision as to which is right for you. Does that make sense? Alright, here we go. So the first reason to sell your book in bookstores is that it's extra income. Now, sure, you don't make as much money selling through bookstores as opposed to when you sell a book directly. Now, if you go through a mainstream publisher, as we've discussed before, you may get about 10% of the recommended retail price. So if the book sells for $20, you're going to get $2, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a little bit more. Not a huge amount of money, knowing that the book only costs a couple of dollars to print and they're selling it for $20. So you're only getting a very small percentage of that overall pie, and it's your work. However, it's still extra income, because if you don't sell, even if you're only getting $2 per book, or if you self-publish and you're getting $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 per book, that's obviously much better. But it's still extra income. So you're not losing or wasting anything. You're certainly going to be making extra money. It's just another distribution channel. Some people say it's one of the worst distribution channels, or some people would say not as aggressively as that, it's not one of the best, but it still is a distribution channel and you can still make money. Okay, you can argue backwards and forwards, but it is extra income. That's the number one reason. Okay, number two is credibility factor. Credibility is huge. That's a big reason to have your book in bookstores, and a lot of people miss it. They just go, I'll just sell my books direct. It's not necessarily the money that we're talking about here, it's the credibility factor. Now, maybe if we can flash up a photo, I'd really love you to see this, because there was actually a time whereby, and it still happens regularly, where I went to a bookshop and I had 4 of my books on the shelf side by side. I had 4 books. Right next door to my book was Richard Branson book, Losing My Virginity. On the other side, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I think just above it was one by Seth Godin and another book by Michael Hewitt Gleason, and I think that there was another one from another famous author, I can't remember right now. But here's Dale Beaumont, and here are all of these business gurus right next door. And in a way, I was on the same level as these other people. So that is great from a credibility point of view. You can be, and I actually had more books on that day than Robert Kiyosaki had on the bookshelves. So that is great from a credibility point of view. The reason number 3, so the first one is it's extra income, and some people have done it really well and have made good money from selling in bookshops. Second one, credibility. The third one is that it attracts a different level of buyer. Now, normally, and I've had a lot of opportunities where people have got my books and they have bought them from a bookshop. Sometimes, many of them are actually sold through airports. Airport bookshops is where a lot of my sales come from, and there's a lot of people that are business-minded people that are traveling. And one of the guys picked up my book and said, I love your story, I love what the book was about and the information that was shared. Would you mind flying down to Melbourne? I'm in Sydney, so like, flying from, LA to Chicago to speak, and I'll pay you $5,000 to give an hour presentation to our company. So that was an opportunity whereby that was a $5,000 sale that I made on that day. It wasn't a $2 or $3 book. So by having them in bookshops, you don't know who's going to pick it up in there and who's going to say, because again, when they're seeing you next to Richard Branson or Robert Kiyosaki or someone else of a really high caliber, they then are putting you on that, so that in a way, an undeserved pedestal, saying, well, wow, this person must be good, and therefore I'm going to pay them to come and speak to my organization. So that is really important. You're attracting a different level of buyers, and you're not interested necessarily in selling, sure, it'd be great to sell tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of copies in bookstores, but if you just sell 10 books to 10 people, they're going to pay you 10 grand a year or even 5 grand a year, then that can be a very, very profitable exercise. So again, we're going to talk more about how to do that. You need to position your book in a way to actually act as a lead generation device to encourage those people to call you and to book presentations or coaching or consulting or mentoring or whatever other product package you want to offer. Number 4 is that it will enable you to get the attention of the media. Now, this is not always the case, but in many cases, the media, the mainstream media, so major television, radio, and the major newspapers will not run a story promoting or talking about you and promoting your book unless your book is in bookstores. Now, why do you think that's the case? Well, if they're a television network and they maybe have 1 million viewers and you're on primetime television and you talk about your book and they don't have anywhere to direct those people, because normally at the end they'll say, and if you'd like to buy Dale Beaumont's book, then head to all good bookshops and it's available there. And then their job is done. They're passing it on to someone else, and then they're going to go to the bookshops and they can actually buy it. The other alternative for them is to say go to secretsexposeclub.com, but normally they don't like to promote websites on television or radio. Sometimes they do, but for major shows, they kind of think it's a little bit tacky to promote, lots of websites. So the other alternative is to not say anything. Don't direct them to the bookshops. Don't direct them to your website, and they say nothing. Thanks very much for coming in to do the interview today, Dale. And what they're going to be left with is 100, 200, 500, 1,000 calls coming into their reception saying, where do I buy the book? Where do I buy the book? Where do I buy the book? So I've had many cases whereby they'll actually say, yeah, we'll run something, but are your books in bookstores? And I say, yes, they are. Okay, great, we'll run something. If the answer is no, then they say, look, we won't worry about it. So by having your book in bookstores, you can actually attract more media. If you don't, you just make your job a little bit harder. It still can work. I may have people debate me on that and say I've got a huge amount of exposure and my books have never been in bookshops, and that's great for you. But many of those people, haven't obviously been in the big levels with mainstream television and radio, whereby they don't always they don't like to promote websites, okay? And the last one is your customers like it. Not like it, but you're giving them options, you're giving them flexibility. So I say to people, yeah, if you want to buy my books, head to my website, and I mention the website name, or go to your local bookshop and you can pick it up there. So it gives people choice. Some people like to be able to walk into a bookshop and buy it off the shelf, and that's great. It helps my book sales tick over in bookstops and helps the book buyers to keep reordering. So nothing's ever wasted. I don't mind if people go in and buy it from the bookshops, but obviously I make more profit if they come to me directly, so I prefer it, but I'm not fussed either way, because obviously you're going to be promoting and marketing to all different types of people. High-tech people that buy a lot online and love using their computer, and other people that actually would prefer to go into a bookshop. So they're the 5 reasons, the 5 biggest reasons in my opinion, as to why to sell your book in bookshops. Extra income, credibility, you attract a high level of buyers, or you attract some quality buyers, people that you otherwise wouldn't have attracted if you just tried to sell to everyone directly. It helps you to get the attention of the media, or makes it more attractive for people to do stories on you. And the last one is it just gives your customers choice and options in order to deal with you. So they're the 5 top reasons. I would love to hear if you're watching this and you've got an answer or something that you'd like to contribute, or you want to debate me on some of these topics, you want to say that what I said was right or maybe not right, then leave me your comments. There's a comment section on the getpublishedtv.com website, and I really would want to hear from you, or just leave a message telling me what you thought of today's episode, and we will continue the conversation next time. We're going to look at the reasons why not to sell your book in bookstores. This is Dale Beaumont from Get Published TV. See you again next time.